Stay on Swift Fiddle for some time to demonstrate some of the basic concepts in Swift programming. And in this video, we're going to be looking at variables and constants. Now, in Swift, we make variables using the var keyword, and then we make a constant using the let keyword. For constant, the value of a constant does not need to be known at compile time, but then Swift requires us to assign a value to it exactly once. So let's get into it. Still, we are building a simple user profile. For instance, we have data that do not change very often. And then we also have data that do change quite frequently or constantly. For instance, we could do let username. I believe that for social media platforms, I don't think you can just change your username every time. Well, anyway, let's just assume for the sake of conversation that we don't change. We're not constantly changing our username in this user profile example that we're trying to examine. So, for instance, we can do at Swift 007, okay, like that. So this would amount to a constant. So if you're familiar with JavaScript, you're probably familiar with the let keyword and the var keyword. So in Swift, this is known as constant. So when we use let to make variable that is constant, it means we cannot change the value or the type of this variable or this constant, if you like. So let's look at variable. Like variables are mutables. Variables are mutable. Constant are immutable. So let's look at another one. Look at let date of birth. Maybe that would be 2000 06 14, something like that. Okay, so that's another one. I don't know where I'm getting these issue here. Expected initial value after. I don't know where I'm getting this. Okay. Now let's look at. So this is another constant. We're using the let keyword. So date of birth. I believe your date of birth is not constantly changing. Now let's have something like follow count. So that's follower count. So let's say initially you had maybe 1,250 followers. On a social media platform, you expect this to change more often as you engage with people. So perhaps your biography as well, you might want to change. So hello everyone. Hello everyone. I am learning Swift. Like so. So that's another one. Now, this constant and this constant, we cannot, like we said, we cannot change their value. But then we can mutate the variables. So for instance, we can do follow count plus equals to 50. So that's you get maybe 50 more followers as time goes on. So we cannot, for instance, we cannot do this. We can't say username equals to I don't know, maybe Swift Swift 999. We can't do this. This is going to throw an error eventually. So let me just demonstrate that for us. So if we can do print, for instance, we print follow count, and then maybe we now do print username. So username is going to throw an error because I don't know why it should be complaining to me here. Although the type, they are the same, string, but then the values, they don't quite align. I don't know why I'm still getting this here. Expected initial value after I've done that. Why am I still getting this? Let username. So if I clear this, I don't know why this is happening. Okay, now it's gone. I think this interface is malfunctioning. I don't know. All right, so let's run this. I think we should get an error, but we'll see. So let's run. Okay, so now we have an issue. Let username. Note change let to var to make it mutable. See? So I'm not even getting what is it called? I'm not getting the value for follow count because I've blundered here. So I'm just going to comment this out, and then again I'm going to run it. Okay, so this can't work. This can't work. This is what is causing the issue. So then this should run now. So follow count is going to give us 1,300, and we get this like so. So that's one way we might look at it. Another way we might look at variables and constant is, we say constant, their values do not change, but then variables, their values, they do change. They are mutable. Say we're on an e-commerce website, and then we are on the shopping cart page. You know, there are data that do not change. Okay, so for instance, we could have let tax rate. So tax rate, that is going to be like coded into the application. So if we do like, I don't know, 25. So this type of data does not change. So this is a constant now. Maybe we have item ID. Again, this is kind of data that do not change. I don't know, maybe we call this prod 908, something like that. And then for data that do change, for instance, we could have cart total. So initially we're going to set that to 0, and then var item count. So cart total, that's the sum of the money that we're going to pay with respect to the product and the quantity of the product that we are buying. So for instance, item count, let's initialize that to 0. And then as we add items to our cart, then we can do something like, maybe we added 10 items to our cart, and then maybe in total, cart total now becomes so we're adding it, maybe now becomes 50.99, like so. So these are data. So if we are mutating this, we cannot mutate this. So then we can just maybe print what is it called? Maybe we print item count. Item count is item count, and then cart total. Okay, let me use proper English here. Is cart total, like so. So this is going to work. So we can mutate var. We cannot mutate let. So if I run this, then we're getting this item count is 10. Then cart total is 50.99. So I hope you're getting the idea what we're trying to do here. Okay. Another thing we might do is there is this type in Swift known as struct or structure. in when we are dealing with this type structure type, let behaves the way let behaves is a bit different, because in this context, let behavior depends entirely on what data it is holding. So let me just give you an instance. What I'm trying to explain is this: there are some programming contexts where this let and var keyword may behave not quite as we expect. So if we have struct, so struct is a type in Swift. We're going to get into all of that later on. So let's call spaceship, and then we can have var name here, var name, and then we're going to set the type to string here. Okay, now this var is mutable. Now we have the spaceship structure. So out here, if we have, we can call the structure like we call a constructor. So my ship, for instance, then we can do space ship, and then in here we can do name, and then we set it to, I don't know, maybe call it Apollo now. Okay, now so this is my ship is an instance of this spaceship structure. Now in here we're using var name to make the property name. Okay, so here we are setting the name to be Apollo. Okay, so if I do, for instance, if I try to do, what is it? If I try to do, what should I do? If I do let result equals my ship the name. No, that's not what I'm trying to do. If I do my ship the name equals to, maybe we'll call this discovery now. Discovery. I think I'm a bit tired. Now if we do that equals to discovery, this is going to throw an error because, well, okay, before anything else, let me just comment this out, and let me print my ship. Print my ship. Okay, let's print my ship and let's see what we get here. So we run this. Okay, so where we have name Apollo. Okay, so that's what my ship is currently. Now if I try to do, for instance, if I try to do my ship the name is equals to discovery. Discovery. Now this name, I'm trying to mutate it because I set it with the var keyword. You would think Swift will allow me to do this. Now if I do print my ship, let's see what we get. I'm going to clear this and then I'm going to run. Aha. See, cannot assign to property my ship is a let constant. Okay, now you think, okay, my ship, no, okay, fine. Pay attention to this. If I do, let me just change this to var. Discovery. Okay, so let's see. Now let me run this. Okay, so it's a spaceship name discovery. So the only way I can, I hope you paying attention. When this was let, my ship, I was trying to reassign the name property it hold because I made that property with var. Swift won't allow me. So the only way I can mutate this is to change the structure, the keyword for the structure to something I can mutate. So that was why this true and error. So if I run this, we get our error back. See? So in order for me to be able to mutate the property inside, I also have to use a keyword that is mutable here. So this is going to allow me to mutate the property inside. So now it says spaceship name discovery. I hope you get that. Another thing we might want to do is in the case of a computed property. So let's look at that. I'm going to take this out. So for instance, let's have let length equals if I do that to be what 5.2. So this is double. Swift is going to automatically infer this as a double. Anyway, it's the floating point number, but then Swift is going to infer this automatically as double. We're going to get into this shortly. Then let's look at width. Width, maybe we call that, I don't know, 12.6. Now we could have a computed value. Now when we do computed value, we can use let keyword. That's because in computed value, the computation is done every time it is called. So we can use, for instance, if I try to do let area, and then of course I have to set this to double because Swift is going to infer this as double, and then I do return length multiply by width, like so. If I do print area, I realize this is going to throw an error because I'm not supposed to use let here. So I just want to show us for the sake of a demonstration. So you see it's throwing an error. So let declarations cannot be computed properties. So this is another thing you need to watch out for. So when we do computed property, we need to use something that can mutate, that is mutable. So this has to be var. Yeah, that's because this computes a new value every time it is called. So maybe I want to do here now, I want to write this properly. So I want to say the area of our shape is area squared. Okay, area squared, like so. So now I'm going to clear this. This is going to work now. See, I've changed this to var. So if I run this, so is the area of our shape is 65.52 squared, maybe squared unit. I should have done square unit, like so. So this is another area I want us to familiarize ourselves with. So when we do computed property, we have to use a keyword that is mutable because whatever this returns is going to compute every time it is called. So guys, that's all I have for variables and constants. We're going to continue with the next video.